Hey people, this is David, and today I'm going to talk again a little bit more about some custom Drupal 7 module development, specifically adding a template file to your custom module. Now, what motivated this was we were working on this Hey Rental module, which is basically a web app that allows somebody to pull up a list of customers and click on the row of that customer to be able to send them a message, a text message. And what we had to do was, in order to make the module work, we had to change the HTML for each row in that view. Now, as you're aware, if you're a Drupal site builder or Drupal developer, normally the way that you go about changing a template is you take that template file and you put it in the theme folder. So you make changes to the way things are going to render by changing the theme layer. But in this case, we didn't want to do that. And the reason was that we wanted to make it easier for whoever was using a module, whoever was adding our module to their site, so that when they installed the module, they just install the module with one click, and then they don't have to make any manual changes to the theme layer. So why don't we get started, and I'll show you exactly what we're trying to accomplish. So in order to do that, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to click over to Windows Explorer and take a look here in the folder for my custom module. And as you can see, I'm in Sites All Modules Custom in my project. And then underneath that is my custom module name, Hey Rental. Submodule is HRC, and the templates folder underneath that. And from this file name, what you can see is that I took the generic template file from the views module, copied it over to here, and I modified the name of the file slightly so that it only points to my view, so that the change we're going to make only applies to the one and only view that is in our custom module. Now let me switch over to the actual view in the site so that I can show you what we're trying to do. Here's the site itself, and here on the left is the actual view. You can see that there's one customer entered in the system, and so there's one row in the view. And Dan here in the system is going to have a corresponding number, and it's the node ID of his customer. And what I want is for this row to have an ID tag in the HTML. So if I go over here, I highlight this div, and it shows you that this div is the row that's surrounding that customer. And you see class, but you don't see an ID. And so when I click that send rent due button that you see over there, nothing is going to happen because the system does not know. The system has no way of knowing which customer I'm clicking on. So I'm adding an ID tag to that div so that when I click the button, it'll know who to send the message to. Now back to our little to-do list here. Now that I've shown you what we're actually trying to accomplish, I'm going to try to walk you quickly through how to accomplish it. And anybody who's worked with Drupal in terms of building sites, or even more specifically developing custom modules, knows about the Devel module because it's one of the most useful things in the Drupal universe. Basically, Drupal is just a bunch of arrays, and in order to be able to change your site, you need to be able to change the arrays that make up that site. And Devel has this one function that's extremely useful called DPM. And what it does is it shows you the array that is behind the page that you're looking at. And so what I'm going to do is implement that right now, and I'll show you. I'm going to jump over to my custom module file here, and in order to make the DPM function work, I've already enabled the Devel module on my site, and I've already typed in right here the hook that I want to use. So I want to see the theme registry array, and the hook that will allow me to see that theme registry array is the hook theme registry alter. And as we all know, when you type the function name, you have to put the name of, you have to replace the word hook with the name of your module. So what I end up with is HRC theme registry alter, and then of course never forget to put ampersand and then the variable name for that array. Next, I'm going to type DPM. I'm going to call that function and give it that array. I'm going to give it that variable for that array and save. And then we're going to go ahead and clear cache on our site, because whenever you add a DPM function, you have to clear cache. Okay, and that took about 30 seconds, so I paused the recording. Now that the cache is cleared, I should be able to go over to my view and refresh the page. And we'll wait for it while it does that. And boom. So the difference now, as you can see, is it's got this box up here. And this is our DPM function that we just added. So as in many things in Drupal, like I said, it's an array. And this is the array that is used to build the theme of the site. Basically, it's an array of arrays. So it's really big and really intimidating, just like a lot of things in Drupal. But the fortunate thing for us is we know what we're looking for. Now, if you recall, back in my Windows Explorer window, you can look at the file name, and basically this tells you what to look for. Views view unformatted is the generic version of the template file. So why don't we scroll down and look for those? Views view unformatted. It's a little bit hard to look for. Okay, here it is. Views view unformatted. And what this is going to be is we're not actually going to make a change to that element of the array. We're actually just going to use this as the basis to make our own element, which we're going to add into the array. So specifically, we're going to need 4 things, basically to copy 4 things out of this and put them in our custom module, in our hook function. So what we need is, first of all, the path, which is going to point to where the template file is, the theme path, which in our case we're going to also point to where the template file is. We need the template element to tell it what file name to look for. And last but not least, we need these pre-process function elements. Don't ask me why. It's just trial and error that I found that they're required, otherwise it won't work. Okay, now we know the information that we need in order to add it to the hook theme registry alter. Let's see what is next on our to-do list. Oh, what do you know? It says hook theme registry alter. So we're going to go back to our code, and guess what? I've already put it here. And let me point out the important parts. So theme registry is the variable, and what you're doing here is you're adding an element to the array called views view unformatted underscore underscore. So 2 underscores. Rent due. So that's going to point to your view and no other views, like we were talking about earlier. And like I was just talking about, there's 4 elements to that element. So there's basically 4 sub elements, and they are theme paths, path, template, and preprocess functions. The theme path is simply just pointing to where that template file lives in our module folder. Same thing with the path element. Template is just going to point to the file name, and what you can see here is you don't have the file extensions. You don't have the tpl.php. Drupal already knows that, so you don't need to include that in there. And then for the pre-process functions, all I did was copy what was already in that theme registry array, and I just typed it in here. Okay, so now that I've typed in this information and saved it, what do I do next? Okay, well, what do you know? It's Drupal, so we're going to have to clear cache again. Let's go ahead and do that. And now that the cache has been cleared, we're going to go back to our view and take a look at the developer tools. Let's see, inspect. And what do you know? Okay, this is the, look at this. How cool is that? So it says div ID equals 107, and you'll notice that that's different because last time that wasn't there. Last time it just said class. So now this view will work and my button will work, so that when I click it, it'll send the information about which customer I'm actually clicking on to the system. Okay, so now that we've showed you what we were trying to accomplish, which is to add that div ID to the view, to the HTML in the view, and we've walked you through exactly how to accomplish it by changing the theme registry. I hope you have found this video useful, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment or send me an email at this email address on your screen right here. And let me know also if you have any requests for topics on any future Drupal videos. All right, have a good day. See you later.